Little Boy is a World War II movie from 2015. It's a Christian film, although in ways that will really surprise you. This movie subverts almost any expectation that you could have from a Christian film. The director of this film is Alejandro Monteverde, who directed the surprise hit Sound of Freedom. Little Boy is his second feature film before Sound of Freedom, a true passion project that he put a lot of his own money into. Little Boy was torn apart by most critics with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 26%. But don't be fooled by that. This is some of the most creative and interesting faith-based filmmaking that you can watch. So Little Boy tells a story of an 8-year-old boy who is willing to do whatever it takes to end World War II so he can bring his father home. The movie starts out with a father-son story that's actually really moving, taking us into a good and healthy family dynamic that gets kind of destroyed and torn apart by the outbreak of war. When being faced with all of these difficult circumstances, the little boy gets told that he has to believe, that he has to put his faith into something. And this is where the movie becomes really different than most Christian films, because it shows faith to be something that exists outside of the description of the Christian faith. You can put your faith in a lot of things, and most people do. The boy starts out putting his faith into fantasy stories that are all about him being the hero that saves the day. At another point, he visits a magician show and is told to put his faith into him being able to perform a magic trick. Later on, he gets told by a father figure that the only reliable place that you could put your faith into is yourself, your own capability and potential. And then finally, the local priest shows him why he should trust God and God alone. And here is the important part. The priest doesn't just tell him how God works and why he should trust him. He shows him who God is and showcases the idea of trusting God through living out his life in faith in a renewed way and actually experiencing the fruits of that. This may look like a simple kids movie, but it has much more underneath the surface. The look of the film reminds of vintage childhood movies or Wes Anderson films when you watch the trailer, but when you actually see the full movie and how each scene is directed, there's so much visual language, visual sophistication and attention to detail in this film that really impressed me. The film has a childlike, innocent perspective and atmosphere, but doesn't shy away from the terror and violence of war. There's a striking dream sequence where the little kid walks onto an atomic wasteland that was formerly a populated town, and the movie is named after a real historic atomic bomb called Little Boy, just to give you a hint of the more darker historic sides that this otherwise a family-centered coming-of-age movie also goes into. Faith and the nature of God are also explored in very layered ways. How can you deal with the times where God doesn't answer your prayer, doesn't give you what you wish for? At the same time, we also see moments where God grants the protagonist his wishes, but still allows for a lot of other destructive and evil things to be happening in the world. And it really makes us question, okay, how can we respond to the global issues that kind of rage in this world and that we are more directly or more indirectly affected by. The mystery behind these deep theological questions are not all brought to answers because the film explores all of this through the eyes of a little boy, and I don't think it needs to necessarily answer all of it. But it does propose the idea that all of this will be answered if you look at God. Alejandro Monteverde is a real Christian filmmaker because of how he points all of his stories to the more universal and fundamental parts of Christianity in a similar way that C.S. Lewis did with Mere Christianity, his book. The director explored the world of child trafficking and proposed answers for that through the gospel in Sound of Freedom. And Little Boy explores how we can make sense of tragic worldwide events like in World War II as individuals. And as I'm saying this, I'm just realizing how much deeper and more layered Little Boy as a film that's appropriate for kids is in comparison to most other children's content. And this is why I actually think this is one of the most underrated and overlooked Christian films of all time. I read online that one of the mottos Monteverde has when it comes to making films is a quote from Saint Francis of Assisi: "Go into the world and preach the gospel, and if necessary, use words." And for him as a director, a picture is more than words. This is a quote and a saying that are really well known probably to most of you watching this. With this film and with the other films of Alejandro Monteverde, these sayings are really taken into real cinematic execution. The director's next film is called 0 AD and adapts the nativity story of the Bible, and it looks really promising. I'm really excited to see his new film coming out this December. Thank you so much for watching my review right here. Hope to have you back in the next one, and God bless you all.